Today I have prepared for you the top 15 best games about space. Different genres will be presented here to suit every taste, but they are all connected in one way or another with space. I'll tell you how many millions of dollars they earned. I hope you will definitely find something interesting for yourself. I will be glad to like and subscribe to the channel. Enjoy watching. Bit Blaster XL, a small arcade game that is a mixture of a snake and a shooter. The player needs to collect coins while dodging enemy attacks. The gameplay is an open space shooter. You can play either alone or in co-op with a friend. The Versus mode is available, giving you the opportunity to fight in PvP matches. You control a spaceship that never stops. To slow down, use various boosts to avoid crashing into a growing column of enemies. With every second, the pace will increase, and there will be more enemies. You must constantly shoot at the invaders, so make sure you have enough ammo to eliminate everyone in your path. Grab bonuses and power-ups from locations that will allow you to survive much longer. Among the improvements, you can pick up spread and blast shots, heat seekers, laser, and others. Also from special abilities, you can get clearing bombs, ship shields, and boosting pickups, which will help you survive the strongest waves of enemies. In Super Bit Blaster XL levels, you can collect coins to unlock new shuttles and abilities. A bonus endless mode has been introduced, where you have to survive by gaining experience points. The leaderboard shows the personal achievements and results of players around the world. The game earned $100,000. Samorost 1, the first Samorost game, which became a legend and spawned a whole series. A mysterious gnome invites you into his world of adventure. During his studies at the Higher School of Applied Arts in Prague, Jakub Dvorsky single-handedly developed a classic point-click adventure game for the computer. In 2003, he presented his creation to the public, and, to tell the truth, the project called Samorost, which literally sounds like Samovit, was received quite warmly. The full version of this graphical quest on PC was created through the efforts of two people. The first was the aforementioned Dvorsky, and the second was Tomas Dvork, a young Czech musician, thanks to whom your ears will be enveloped in whimsical sounds and charming melodies, creating an incredible atmosphere. The concept of the gameplay mechanics is simple and easy to understand. You have to download Samorost in order to interact with the game world through mouse clicks. The main character of the whole story is a character in pajamas who was called Gnome. His planet is in danger because a huge asteroid is directly ahead, so the dwarf on his rocket is sent to a flying piece of a meteorite in order to somehow influence the further course of events. This is how a simple but quite original plot component begins. Nova Drift is a top-down arcade action role-playing game in a sci-fi setting from the creators of Last Horizon. You have to fight back against alien enemies and sweep away entire hordes of spaceships. The main feature is upgrading and developing your ship. An extensive arsenal of modifications will affect movement, weapons, and shields. If you miss arcade space action games in which you need to improve your ship and shoot hundreds of enemies, then turn your attention to Nova Drift. This is an excellent representative of its genre. This is a modern ARPG where you control an ever-changing biomechanical ship. A key feature of the game will be ship customization. Here is just a huge set of different improvements that can be combined to create something unique. The game earned $2.1 million. Universe Sandbox is a sci-fi simulator with educational elements that supports HEC Vid virtual reality devices. In the game, you can perform various kinds of experiments with celestial bodies in our solar system. You can feel like a god. You can push the moon into the Earth and watch what happens. Change the orbits of the planets, increase their rotation speeds, change the climate, axis tilt, etc. Each change leads to consequences, which arouses great interest. In essence, Universe Sandbox can be a great educational tool. After all, you will be able to clearly find out the characteristics of the planets of our solar system, and you will also be able to change various parameters and see how they affect the planet. In addition to planets, the game has thousands of unique asteroids, meteorites, and comets that can be collided with planets without much difficulty. Universe Sandbox is primarily aimed at inquisitive gamers because you can find out what will happen to our solar system if the sun goes out, or what will happen to the Earth if it collides with the OPUS asteroid. There is a real threat of a collision with this asteroid. The game is designed for more than one evening and allows you to simulate various situations. You can create your own systems from different planets and even simulate black matter and black holes. All this is supported by simply magnificent graphics and realistic physics. The game earned tilde $8.8 million. OPUS, Echo of Starsong is a fantastic quest and puzzle game. It's the distant future, where humanity has discovered strange asteroids that make a mysterious sound. It was nicknamed Starsongs. It is a powerful source of powerful energy that can be used for almost anything. The only problem is that there are very few such meteorites, and any country or company is trying to take possession of one, which has led to a series of conflicts, including the use of military force. The main character is a girl named Ada, who has the ability to hear star songs, thereby directing her spaceship in their direction. The girl wants to find not just asteroids, but the very source of this phenomenon, and for this, she needs to go on an unforgettable adventure across the entire galaxy. There will be many obstacles and interesting events along the way. You can visit amazing places and locations where you need to complete quests and tasks, as well as solve puzzles. This is not a stressful game which, at the same time, can not only relax, but also challenge, which sometimes forces you to strain your brains. The game will be able to captivate with its stylish graphics in anime style, as well as atmospheric music. The game earned tilde $2.5 million. FTL, Faster Than Light is a computer game that combines elements of the strategy, roguelike, and space simulator genres. The crew rushes around the compartments, extinguishing fires, sealing holes, repairing equipment, fighting off the enemy boarding team. Everything is real here. To extinguish the fire, you can open the airlock and let air out of the burning compartment. The wounded should be sent to the medical compartment, and the boarding team should be locked in the corridor until clarification. Your subordinates, not only people, have their own characteristics and also improve their skills as they use them. But there are no red shirts here, so losing a veteran could be costly. A half-empty ship is difficult to control. Team members simply will not have time to reach all points at once, which is fatal during a battle. FTL, Faster Than Light plays like a roguelike RPG, but the actions take place within one or more ships. Each time the universe is generated anew, you can go through the game at least 100 times with a different team, at different difficulty levels, on different ships, and each time it will be a new exciting story. Sometimes it's very short, because you can literally die in the first battle. Sometimes it goes until the triumphant ending. The game earned tilde $9.8 million. Kerbal Space Program is a space simulation game developed by Squad Studio. Its creation began about 10 years ago. For maximum scientific accuracy, the creators turned to NASA and SpaceX for support. Also, based on the Kerbal Space Program, a number of educational programs for school children have been created. The game takes place in a fictional universe limited to one star system. At first glance, this may not seem like a nut for a space simulator, but this impression will be false. The vastness of even one system is vast, and traveling through it can take years. An alien race of funny green men plays the role of astronauts, engineers, and scientists. Thanks to the humorous atmosphere created by these comical aliens, the game is perceived quite easily and does not put pressure on the player with its seriousness. Kerbal Space Program, unlike many other games with a space setting, has a fairly low barrier to entry. I say quite low, but you still have to undergo training. Some things, even in a simplified form, require knowledge of theory. For example, to assemble your first ship, you won't have to spend a long time figuring out what and how. Pusher, control module, parachute, and off we go. However, sooner or later, you will be faced with tasks that are an order of magnitude more complex, such as orbit synchronization, docking, and transfer from one orbit to another. To do this, you will have to gather your courage, clench your fists, and complete the training missions. These missions teach you the intricacies of space travel. For example, you will learn how to fly from one planet to another. To do this, it is not enough to simply point the nose of the rocket at the target and give it full speed. In this way, you will find yourself anywhere, but not at the desired point, and even without fuel. In addition to the career mode, the game features a classic sandbox and individual missions. Some of these missions are created by fans, some by developers. In a short session, you will be given tasks that you need to complete with the most points. Separately, it is worth noting the tasks that replicate real flights. They were created in collaboration with the European Space Agency. I admit I haven't tried this game mode myself because I value freedom of action, but I think there are many who like such tasks. The game earned $65 million. The Planet Crafter is a colony-building simulator on an extremely hostile planet with an emphasis on crafting. Your key task will be terraforming and the subsequent creation of a planet suitable for life. Of course, the first thing you need is to organize the extraction of important resources. Afterwards, you will gradually equip the base and even be able to start producing oxygen. Your task is to find a way to heat the planet and create an atmosphere with enough oxygen. All this is not an easy task and requires long and hard work from the player. Collect minerals and resources to survive. You will need a base and all kinds of machines to feel at home and be able to revive this planet. Explore old crashed spaceships and discover a planet full of mysteries. The game earned $4.4 million. Outer Wilds is an adventure simulator in a small open world, or rather, in an open planetary system. The player takes on the role of a space traveler from the Chameleon people. In this system, several bizarre planets revolve around the local sun, on which you can find traces of an ancient alien civilization that call themselves Nomai. Having reached the observatory, we are not given specific instructions. You are free to explore any point in the galaxy, and believe me, it has something to surprise you. Anticipating your journey, you come across a statue, which, turning in your direction, absorbs all your memories since awakening. Yes, you find yourself in a time loop, because as it turns out very soon, you dared to explore space on the verge of its destruction, and this is wonderful. The entire galaxy becomes one big clockwork, where almost everything happens at the same time and in the same place. Don't think that this is an ordinary adventure game, the main feature of which is the story and lore. No, Outer Wilds is a game with a capital G. There are no riddles or puzzles here as such. The main mechanics is movement, which is made as tactile as possible. 6 engines allow you to become a real piloting ace and climb to places that can only be reached after many hours of research. The game earned $17 million. Stellaris, real-time space strategy. The local space is procedurally generated, and the local planets are inhabited by different alien races. At the beginning of the game, you will have a choice of 7 races for which you will play. Your space fleet will consist of spaceships that you create yourself in the ship editor. As you explore, you will find resources to fund your expansion, which can be collected by building mining stations. You'll find anomalies that can be explored to unlock new technologies and initiate quests. You will meet other species, often friendly, but sometimes not. And when you're not venturing into the unknown, you'll be tending to the needs of your home planet by building buildings for its citizens. Sid Meier once called a strategy game a series of interesting decisions, and Stellaris' running hours are filled with them. The fact that Stellaris is not turn-based makes the action fluid. Like Paradox's previous grand strategy games like Europa Universalis IV or Crusader Kings U, Stellaris moves in real time, but with the ability to pause, slow down, or speed forward. Rarely at the beginning of a game did I feel comfortable speeding up the simulation. Thanks to the user-friendly interface, you can focus on the personality of your empire, playing as peaceful explorers, militaristic fanatics, reluctant xenophobes, or many other options available from the trait lines offered when creating a faction. Various traits offer bonuses and penalties that influence your decisions and, in some cases, limit your options. Only collectivists can enslave their population, and fanatical individualists cannot ban migration. The game earned $73 million. Oxygen Not Included is a survival simulator computer game set in a space colony. Everything in a space colony is under your control, from excavations and resource distribution to water and electricity supply systems. However, with your first breath, resources will begin to deplete, so dig faster if you want to live. The game has a huge number of possibilities. A lot of variables influence each other. Density of materials, waste, logistics, location of minerals. The list could go on for a very long time. The main thing is to understand that there is almost always some unaccounted factor that will come back to haunt you in the end. But while you are building a base and have some plan in your head for its development, everything becomes less important because experience will come with mistakes. Asteroids are full of minerals. Some of them are used to separate oxygen from them, others are needed for farms, construction of rooms, and machines. One thing turns into another, the generated carbon dioxide flows down, the dirty water is drained into a separate room. Then cleaning stations, pumps, and filters appear. The station is surrounded by a pipeline system. Water and air rush back and forth. Dyson Sphere program is a science fiction space simulator in which you will build your galactic empire by exploring uncharted areas of extraterrestrial space. In the distant future, humanity has made a huge breakthrough in science and technology, which has given rise to a new era. You take on the role of the chief engineer responsible for the project to build a Dyson Sphere, a megastructure that revolves around a star, using all its power and energy. Building such a complex facility far from Earth is not such a simple task. However, you won't be limited to one base and planet. On the contrary, you have to explore the universe, build objects on different planets, and connect them with a logistics network on a galactic scale. Your main assistant will be the high-tech fur Icarus. It will be your main transport and costume at the same time, and it can also be upgraded. The game earned till $22 million. Deep Rock Galactic is the first co-op sci-fi first-person shooter, featuring cool space gnomes, fully destructible environments, procedurally generated cave systems, and endless waves of alien monsters. Deep Rock Galactic hires you to work for the hilariously corrupt collective of space miners of the same name, and it doesn't care whether you or your dwarf pals survive their next plunge into the completely deformable cavernous depths of the planet Soxus or not, as long as they can turn a profit. One of the various mission types even involves retrieving equipment from a team that was destroyed during a dig, so the company doesn't lose more than a few expendable lives. Deep Rock Galactic is the best 4-player co-op game. Combat is fast and exciting, with many interesting synergies to be found between the game's 4 different classes. The objectives in the various missions are broad enough to keep things interesting, but simple enough that a new player can jump in and get the hang of it pretty quickly. You can have all the fun and succeed with an unupgradable level 1 dwarf, but there's plenty of room to develop your skills and change your appearance if you're willing to put in the time. The game earned till $67 million. Among Us is a company game in which players must find a traitor among the crew of a spaceship whose goal is to kill everyone. The traitor needs to kill as many comrades as possible before he is declassified. In fact, this game is an analog of the tabletop Mafia, where in order to successfully subvert, players must mislead their opponents and do everything possible not to reveal themselves. Complete tasks to return home to civilization and prevent your spaceship from falling apart, but be aware, an imposter is hiding on board, and maybe even more than one, with the goal of destroying the ship and its entire crew. It remains for other crew members to complete tasks, find the imposters, and throw them into the abyss of space. But be careful. Imposters will go to any lengths to convince others that they are crew members, so don't believe everything they say. It's better to immediately provide yourself with an alibi so as not to inadvertently end up overboard. The game earned till $53 million. This is such a rich and interesting taupe. Write in the comments which game did you like best.